Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, Season 12, Episode 65. He's Dave Bryan. I'm Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com. Thanks for being back with us here on this Monday show, this Victory Monday show, as the Steelers, in classic Steelers fashion, find a way to win in the second half, beating the Tennessee Titans 19-13, outscoring them 16-0 in the second half. Pittsburgh moving to 7-6-1 on the year and improving their playoff odds that they so desperately needed to do in this game. So it was, I don't know how to best describe this ugly game, Dave, but I'll certainly take the victory.
Once again, man, we get two games a week, man. I mean, we are some blessed individuals here. Get to watch two different games here. The second game every week seems to be the better game.
The matinees, a lot better
for the most part. Man, I tell you what, I don't know if there's such thing as atrocious wins. I mean, style points don't matter, but this team has figured out a way to do it. I put on Twitter last night after going back through that game again from the TV copy there. If this team manages to get into the playoffs and win one game, at least one game, Mike Tomlin should really get coach of the year. And I'm not kidding, because there is so much bad football being played, but yet this team is still finding a way to get wins. So, I mean, look, the goal is the game. The goal of the game is to win the game, right? And
that's what they tell me.
Yeah. And they have done that now. 7 times in total here, and quite a few of these surely seem like they belong in the L column, but they're not. But look, I mean, this is a game that I thought the Steelers had to have. I think you agreed beforehand that this is a game the Steelers probably had to have, especially with Kansas City coming up. And I wasn't overly impressed ahead of this game with the Titans minus Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and minus left guard Roger Saffold. I thought this had a chance to be a beatable Titans team, and other than them running on a very porous defense, in the Steelers, and you have to give, I guess, you take off your hat and hand it to the Titans that way. But I really didn't see them to be all that intimidating of a team overall going into this game. And look, the Steelers did what they had to do, and they got the victory, and they did get the shutout, as you said, in the second half.
You're right. Tennessee was not a potent team. They weren't explosive. They're missing their star guys. No Derrick Henry, no A.J. Brown. But generally speaking, they've been a fundamentally sound team. And that was not the case in yesterday's game, especially in the second half. 4 total turnovers for Tennessee's offense, 7 penalties overall. And that proved to be the difference, along with the Steelers' good red zone play. So the two numbers that I define this win is Pittsburgh with the 4 takeaways, and Pittsburgh's defense being 1 of 4 in the red zone, in the sense of Tennessee's only scoring once in terms of 4 red zone trips, and that was the Ryan Tannehill sneak for a touchdown. So if you play good situational ball the way Pittsburgh did, you keep the score down and you certainly get your team in it, and that's what happened yesterday. So those are the 2 big stats that kind of told me how this team won and won ugly.
Boy, if you would have lost that game on a 4-0 turnover differential,
yeah,
I mean, what does it take to win at that point? I mean,
right. And they still barely won. They had 4 turnovers, and they were heart attack game.
No explosive plays for the Steelers offense outside of the 5-yard catch by Pat Freiermuth with the 15-yard penalty tacked on. I don't know if you want to count that or not. Luckily, or on the Steelers side, I think they held the Titans to just one explosive play, and I believe that was a Dante Foreman run. But you look at the Steelers, some of the other key stats that you normally look at from a game, third downs, 2 of 11 for the Steelers and 8 of 18 for the Titans. Now, I think a lot of the Titans, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe a lot of the Titans' third down situations were short yardage type situations. So that obviously plays into helping them in that category. I thought maybe a key to this game was to get Ryan Tannehill in 3rd and 6 situations, because that's when he's more apt to, get sacked, turn over to, throw an interception, those kind of things. So I think they did pretty decent overall when they got the Titans in those type situations. It just wasn't enough of them. It just felt like a lot of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Once again, I'm going by feel here. I don't have the stats in front of me here. And then the penalties for a while there, it looked like it was all Steelers. And then the Titans did a good job of tightening that up in the second half there. And time of possession, 39 to 21 minutes roughly for the Steelers there. Offensive plays, 45. They're using their head. You can't beat the Steelers, or the Steelers can't throw 40 times if they only run 45 plays, right? So right. That's a way to outsmart them there. But
I want hazard pay for my charting. Tommy has it too easy, too long.
Yeah. Tom probably got done before bed last night.
Right.
With his charting there. You look at the rushing, man, 201 to 35. If you would have told me that that Tennessee ran for 200 yards in this game ahead of time, I would have told you there's no way the Steelers win this game. But you know what? Stats be damn lies. How's the saying goes? Lies, stats, and damn lies, or something like that. But anyway, they went on to win the game.
Mark Twain, I don't think would appreciate the way that you butchered that quote. I think that was Mark Twain.
Look, there's a lot of things English wise that I butcher. So jump aboard. Well, how does that phrase go?
Lies, damn lies, and stats.
That too.
You had it close.
Yeah, close enough.
You're the Mark Twain of picking games, and I'm the whatever the opposite of Mark Twain is, because I'm deferring to you. I'm deferring the coin toss to you on all picks now for our picks on Friday.
I am the Bud Dupree of I've become the Bud Dupree of picking Steelers games in this last quarter of the season. No,
just
but
go ahead. I was going to say, just to throw out a stat, Titans are second team in NFL history to lose when they have the ball for at least 39 minutes, run for 200-plus yards, and hold their opponent to under 200 yards of offense, joining the 87 Saints. Teams are now 58-2 when they do those three things. The Titans, of course, losing. So pretty historic loss yesterday, but again, you turn the ball over 4 times. You don't have good red zone play. That's how you get a loss like that.
Man, I mean, if... what did you think about my statement about Mike Tomlin and Coach of the Year? This team gets in the playoffs and wins again. I mean, it's almost like. And now for my next magical trick.
Nothing up your sleeve.
Yeah, I'll need an audience member to help out with this one. I mean, it's just so smoke and mirrors, man. But they're getting a win, so there it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar script as it's usually been. A team that's poor in the first half, and it's really just a matter of can the defense keep the score down, and they did yesterday. And ultimately, the defense was not pretty to allow 200 yards, and they didn't play a great game, but they forced the takeaways. They bent, they didn't break, and when you keep the score down in the first half, you give your offense time to kind of figure things out. I don't know if the Steelers offense really ever figured things out, but gave them good field position with the takeaways and did just enough there on the back of a 4 Chris Boswell field goal. So. Where do you want to start here, Dave? Let's kind of talk about some stuff that occurred before the game. Not a whole lot to note on Saturday. Offensive lineman, offensive guard Rashard Coward was elevated to the roster as a COVID replacement from Montravius Adams. And in terms of an active list, there not anything incredibly notable. Joe Hayden was active in this game, was on a pitch count, kind of rotated with Akella Witherspoon. Kevin Rader did not play. Anthony McFarland, a healthy scratch for him. No Isaiah Buggs, and Carlos Davis played his first snap since week 1. He did not start a nose tackle, though he rotated in throughout the game.
Yeah, look, I mean, not, you could kind of see the coward elevation coming because of the number of linemen and, along those lines there. So that wasn't surprising. I think the inactives, in fact, I think I nailed the inactives again. 5, those were fairly easy to determine based on the injury. The really, I guess the only kind of real guess you had in there is whether or not Anthony McFarland was going to be up, and just kind of history let us know that likely wasn't going to be the case, and he indeed wasn't. So I don't think too much big of a surprise. Obviously, good to get Joe Hayden back in uniform, Robert Spillane back in uniform, Carlos Davis back in uniform. Who else did I miss there? I think that was it. JC Hassenhauer obviously was not activated back to the 53-man roster on Saturday. I would think that probably a decent chance of that happening for this next game, but we'll see. I don't know. They seem to be okay right now in what's going on with the offensive line, but at least Hassenhauer does have more center experience than one John LeGlue, which I would think right now is still serving as your backup center right now. So if physically able to, I would think Hasen, if he clears the conditioning and all like that in practice this week, would probably be we'll probably see him back on the 53-man roster by Saturday at 4:00.
And hopefully Kevin Dotson can return at some point in terms of opening up that window to begin practicing. We won't know that until Wednesday, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. John LeGlue did start at left guard yesterday over Joe Haig, and so Haig is there, I guess, to be the versatile backup as opposed to the starter at any one spot.
I just at first blush, I thought LeGlue played okay yesterday. I haven't, gotten into the all-22 yet, but he did have his moments. I mean, you going to get Simmons and all like that. Mm-hmm. But once again, it was an offensive line that not great run blocking, better in the kind of the pass protection department, I guess, especially with having to have more of a quick pass game. If you want to, Ben obviously didn't throw the football down the field, too terribly much in this game. But I tried to keep one eye, kind of specific on LeGlue, and it kind of felt like he played, okay.
Yeah, I suppose he's held his own. He's not been great. I think the story's a bit better than the actual play, but just given the circumstances, your fifth string left guard, you take it overall. From an injury standpoint in this game, Dave, before we dive into the game itself, Steelers coming away with 2 injuries in this one. That is Pat Freiermuth, who left with a concussion. That happened on that third down catch that he had, one of the 2 third down conversions Pittsburgh recorded, and Chris Wormley with a groin. It was a groin injury, right?
According to Mike Tomlin, and the team obviously did not announce that during the game there. And when I went back through the TV tape, I think it happened around 2:30 something left in the game. So okay. I think it happened really, really late with him. And once again, there was no team announcement on Twitter that late in the game. So, keep your fingers crossed is all I can say. I can't pick out specific injury, just him kind of reaching that area and then going off the field. And I don't think I saw him again. So I think that was around the 2:30 mark, right around in there.
So we will admit him to club groin, and hopefully his stay is pretty short. So those are the 2 injuries there, Dave. Let's talk about the game itself. Again, Pittsburgh winning this one 19-13, fell down in the first half. It was 13-3, another slow start for this team overall. What do you want to start, your offense or defense? Both are interesting. One is probably more exciting to talk about than the other.
Wow. Dealer's choice. Go ahead.
Well, let's start with the defense here because they're the more entertaining portion. 4 takeaways in this one, 3 fumble recoveries, and Joe Schobert's interception off of Taco Charlton's tip. And so that was the name of the game. Again, it was the takeaways. It was the good red zone defense. Bend but don't break. Keep the score down. This defense was not – They hung on for the first half for sure, and this defense still struggled in a lot of ways. And the Titans, had drop passes and missed opportunities and things like that. So, but whenever you get some pressure, you get some takeaways and capitalize. That's basically how you win games that you quote unquote shouldn't have won.
Yeah, and those takeaways were key. Boy, the Steelers normally, when it comes to their prototypical kind of outside linebackers that they sign, they don't like them generally as long as Taco, right? I mean, Taco is considered a pretty long one when it comes to Steelers standards. Well, that longness paid off. He really got up there on that tip pass, and obviously played a huge part in that very, very key turnover, or one of the very key turnovers in the game there. So props to him. Props to Joe Schobert being in the right place there. I'm looking forward to looking at some Loudermilk tape, all 22, because I thought a couple of times he jumped out on the TV tape there.
Well, let me ask you this, because I agree with you. Wormley seemed to play okay. Hayward played well. So how does a D-line play decent, at least, and give up 200 yards, as a defense on the ground?
It's the part where you don't play well. There were some other instances here where they're just getting blown off of the football. At first blush, and it's hard to go into the TV tape and say I'm gonna watch these 5 guys, but I'm gonna roll through the tape in an hour and a half. But it did not feel like Carlos Davis had a great first game back. Henry Mondeau, I don't think, played overly well. I thought Cam played, obviously was the best of the bunch. I thought Wormley had some good snaps, and I thought Loudermilk had some decent snaps. But top to bottom, at least against as far as the run goes, no, they did not. And the linebackers too. Not a great game for Schobert, Spillane, or Devin Bush. Once again, people tweeted me last night they're trying to wish cast greatness onto Devin Bush. And it doesn't work that way, folks. It does not work that way. I thought Devin Bush was the worst of those 3 linebackers again in this game. On the ground again, getting bodied by offensive linemen. The one chance that he had a chance to make a play in the game on a red zone ball that was thrown into his kind of a zone area there. He got both hands on, did not make the play. Another play that I thought he originally had a pass breakup on. You go back and look at the tape. It was actually a drop by the running back on that one. I gave him too much credit at the time on that. But look, they're not. They're not getting off blocks, and then what you end up happening is you have Minkah Fitzpatrick having to roll down into the alley there and make the tackle, and that's where you end up with. Is that a career high for him? 14.
It is. His previous career high was 10, so he blew past that. He had more solo tackles in this game, 12, than he's ever had combined tackles in a game. And Tomlin certainly gave him props, and deservedly so. Because I feel bad for Minkah, because he's got to go in every game going, I got to make 4 or 5 tackles in the open field to prevent touchdowns, and he does it almost every single week. I
mean, I guess it looks good on a stat sheet to say Minkah led the team in total tackles, but I'd rather not see Minkah lead the team in total tackles like that. To his credit, he was he was a huge difference. I mean, he was the reason that quite a few of those runs did not go for explosive runs, quite honestly, because I think they had a few of them that went, 15, 16. It just felt like 10 yards, 10 to 19 yards was open season on quite a few of these runs here. But, are we going to find some negative on tape with Loudermilk? Yeah, I think so. But, I mean, as far as trying to look for, do people really – we give our honest opinion, and unfortunately, a lot of times this season we're going into this thinking, especially on the defensive side of football, saying, this negative happened, this negative happened. I'm trying, and I think I've tried the last couple of shows to highlight some positive things in here. So, but I guess to answer your question, we're going to find some negative on the defensive line here, and probably some out of Loudermilk too when it comes to the run.
Sure. It felt like the backside cutback was something the Steelers defended poorly. In this one, I thought several times they had the front side cleaned up well, but the backside wasn't squeezed off well, where nobody crashed down or filled the alley backside or something like that. And so that seemed to be an issue. And then just Foreman getting some yards after contact, especially on that 4th and 1 play where they have him dead to rights, a yard deep in the backfield, and he's able to squirm his way forward. Just want to see some better pursuit and effort and just finish as a tackling unit in this one. Minkah Fitzpatrick just kind of rattling off some of the tackles he had against the run. 11 yards, 9 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards. So you're right. I mean, The difference in this game in Minnesota was that you didn't have the double, chunk explosive plays and those kinds of things. Their longest run was 20 yards, but they consistently got yardage. But it was Minkah that did a good job not allowing those 10-yard runs becoming 30-yard runs. And that to me was a difference in terms of, I guess, quote unquote, maybe containing the Titans run game to some degree.
Yeah. Especially, I guess, down in the red zone area more than anything, but you don't give up 200 yards just by, more than a couple of times a season just by chance, and also, I mean, look, you had the games against Detroit where they wallop you with some hugely big runs, right? And
touchdown runs, no less.
Right. Those double explosive, triple explosive chunks kind of thing. But when you look at this and you get 200 net yards with the longest run of being 20 yards, that lets you know there was it was more than paper. They were deep paper cuts along the way when it comes to the run. And also you only had you had Tannehill not gashing it, although he had a couple of scrambles that I think converted. It wasn't like you had a Justin Herbert situation either, So yeah, those running backs were getting chunks of yardage, once again, more than 5 yards. You just rattled off, quite a few of the tackle yardage when it came to Minkah. And I tell you another thing that stuck out too around halftime was those running backs of theirs had what did I put down? 50 something receiving yards in the first half. That the running backs had, and then there was so much yards after catch that the Steelers were giving up in the first half as well too. Boy, you think back to that throw over to the right side. Who was it? McNichols that caught the ball at I don't know, the 12 or something like that.
Yeah, that 3rd and 8 play. Yeah,
a 3rd and 8 play. He catches it short of the first down. Not only does he get the first down, but he almost gets in the damn end zone over there, and he catches the ball a yard and a half away from the sideline, I think, so, and that's not the first time we've seen that happen this season either. So they've got to do a better job of throws, especially out there in space of, he's got it out. They got to all rally to the football better. And a lot of them, they're standing there almost like spectators initially when a catch or something like that's made.
Yeah, I thought Romo pointed it out well in the broadcast. You could see the pursuit of Tennessee be a lot more aggressive and a lot more, effort-based in some of those gang and rally tackles than what Pittsburgh did defensively. I will say, talking about the defensive line, though, in general, credit Chris Wormley. The first play of the game, that sack, if he does not get to Tannehill, that's probably a long touchdown to Julio Jones because there was either miscommunication or Cam Sutton got beat on that play because Julio was running wide open down that left sideline. So Chris Wormley having a career season, really underrated piece to this defensive line, to this defense this year, and he got his, I think, 6th sack of the season on Sunday.
I don't want to drill the onion. I don't want to peel back the onion too terribly deep here, but Brewer had to start at left guard there in place of Roger Saffold, who's one of their better offensive linemen, I think, overall. So right out of the chute there, you see the difference of the Titans being down one of their offensive starters there. Impactful play overall because it goes from a sack, and like you said, it's going to be interesting to really see that on the all 22 kind of our press box shot there because you could see it from the quarterback angle there from behind the quarterback that he was wide open, got past past Sutton by about, I don't know, it was 12 yards past him, something like that there. But that was a huge first, and that was the first snap of the game. You see that and you think, oh my God, what's gonna happen here? Now, to their credit, they not that Tannehill or the Titans are that explosive of a passing team anyway, but they did a good job of limiting or keeping the deep ball away. Now, there was the other throw, it's kind of a turning point play on top of it, to be honest with you, down the other side that the Westbrook, where did that kid go to school at?
Indiana.
Okay. I'm having a trouble remembering his college tape. But anyway, what a huge drop that was. Mm-hmm. He had Hayden beat by 8 yards, 7 yards, I think, something like that. That ball was put right in his hands. I don't see how he dropped that one there. So that was a huge. Wasn't that a third down too? What play was that?
I don't remember the down. I just remember I thought it was a touchdown whenever the ball was in the air, but it was a key play.
I'm trying to find that real quick because I want to.
It might have been a 1st and 10, 10:30 the second quarter, deep right to Westbrook, Ekine.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Ekine.
All right, and what did they end up doing on that drive? That was that long.
That was that 19-play drive,
okay.
I think, that resulted in a field goal. So I guess in that sense, probably still saved yourself 4 points.
Right. So they overcame that basically, at least, you know.
Yeah, I will say this: just overall, this defense did have to overcome a lot, and some of it's self-inflicted because Tennessee was strong on third down in the first half. I believe they were 6 of 10. But man, that time of possession battle so slanted towards Tennessee and that run-heavy offense, it really wears you down. Pittsburgh, I thought, kind of withstood that battle well. And certainly in the first half, some of the field position spots Pittsburgh's defense was put in was not a good beat, not a good place to be in. Tennessee's second drive started at the Steelers' 25-yard line. The next drive started at Tennessee's 47-yard line, and they only got 10 points out of that, a touchdown and a field goal. So, obviously a field position issue with Harvin struggles and the coverage struggles and the penalties and things like that certainly did not do Pittsburgh any favors, and the offense going 3 and out consistently in this one. Man, I mean, just for, Pittsburgh didn't get worn down. I mean, they certainly had their problems for sure, but to be able to have that kind of second half they did, despite the time of possession battle being so heavily in favor of Tennessee, is actually pretty remarkable, and credit to Pittsburgh's defense.
Boy, Arthur Mallett, I thought, played a pretty good game in this, and what a key punch out that was. They didn't capitalize on that one though, did they?
I will have to check. Let me look here.
You want to talk about something to complain about is, man, 12 points off of 4 turnovers total, right?
Yeah, they did get a field goal out of that drive, Boswell, 36-yarder.
All right, so I mean, if you get those amount of turnovers there, you want to get greedy. You want a little bit more than 12 points there. But I thought Arthur Mallett played a pretty decent game there. Obviously had the punch out there. Who else? Edmonds. I thought Edmonds made some really key. Now, not a game that you're going to say, see, this is the reason why he needs to go to the Pro Bowl. I don't think anybody's going to tell you that. But there were a lot. It was about. It felt a lot like Loudermilk. You turn around and kind of every time you see him, he's making a play, especially coming down low on I don't know, a catch or a run to the outside and making a key timely tackle at that aspect. And he did have a deep kind of, Hail Mary-ish type deep pass down the left side that he broke up. Probably could have done a better job maybe getting his overall hands on that one. But I came out thinking, okay, not a bad game from Edmonds, not a bad game from Arthur Mallett. Who else? Joe Hayden obviously made a couple of key plays in this game that helped offset kind of the other stuff with him.
Yeah, I think the term Mike Tomlin will use tomorrow in his Tuesday press conference will be ball searching or ball hunting, because that's what the defense did there with Cam Sutton, although that was kind of a fluky play, but still, forced fumbles, Mallett, as you said, and just overall the aggressiveness of going after the football. Talk about Charlton getting his hands up, just doing those little things to create those takeaways. And you needed takeaways in a game like this where your offense was doing nothing and really did nothing. You're right. I mean, he did not capitalize well off those turnovers, the great field position the offense was set up in. Not only did they only get field goals, they didn't even take time off the clock in the fourth quarter. I mean, they would get the ball, possess it for a minute and a half, and then kick a field goal and give it right back. So you couldn't even, it wasn't even like you had, a 7 or 8 play drive and you got down to the 3-yard line and you kicked the field goal and took 5 minutes off the clock, and at least you did that. They didn't even do that. It was 2 minutes, kick a field goal and give the ball right back to Tennessee. So, really disappointing response there for the offense. But again, the 4 turnovers in this one, obviously critical.
And look, I mean, that Cameron Sutton tackle on the fumbleception.
Yeah, what a wild play.
That was a great, and the athleticism of not, I was it technically, I forgot to go back and look at it. It was technically ruled a fumble, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So it didn't matter that Joe Hayden caught that ball in the air.
Kind of did, though, because if nothing bounces, you never know where it ends up. So that was a great play by Hayden.
That's true. That's why I kind of labeled it a fumble section at the time of life, because I didn't know what it was there. But good low hit by Cameron Sutton helped play a role in that. I mean, plan those things to play out that way, obviously. But yeah, I mean, a turnover there. We talked about the Taco tip ball turnover. We talked about the Arthur Millette turnover, and then right on cue, Tannehill gave another easy one there on a fumbled snap.
Yeah, kudos to you. You tweeted that out before, right? You wished that one to existence.
Yeah, I cashed that one right into existence there. Of course,
yeah,
you do know I'm a witch, right?
I do. Salem witch trials. I saw you there. But yeah, that all was very important in this one. And then, of course, the play of the game, the final play of the game for Pittsburgh's defense, Joe Hayden's fourth down stop. And listen, Hayden, he obviously wasn't 100%. There was a conditioning thing. He was rotating with Witherspoon quite a bit. The guy can't really run anymore. He got burnt, so bad on that drop by Westbrook, as you mentioned a couple minutes ago. But man, we need a big play. We need someone to be technically sound and go for the big hit there. Hayden came up large, and to make that stick on that guy who's like 6'2.5", 210 pounds. Hayden obviously not that big. To make that play there was just awesome technique and just good veteran savvy to make a play like that in a moment like that, Dave.
Man, sometimes savvy greater than athleticism, right? Give me a guy that can that can be in the right place at the right time and play technically sound. May have lost a step or two or three. That technically sound and that savviness, will pay off at times in the plays such as that. And I thought Joe Hayden did a great job of breaking down what his role on that play was. And I think you wrote a film room about that this morning as well, too.
Yeah, the first thing was there was kind of a little pick or rub action there with the receivers kind of switching their releases, the inside slot receiver and the outside receiver. So you got to avoid that to begin with, and you got to come downhill. And there was no hesitation. There was no, I'm going to come to bounce. It was I'm going to drive through it and then wrap up and drag it to the ground. And if Hayden would have given an inch there and allowed the receiver to fall forward at all, that's almost certainly going to be a conversion. And so despite just an abysmal spot by the officials, I'm not sure what they were thinking there, he still got the stop. And so Hayden's been this team's most physical and best run stop and corner. I said that was going to be important for a game like this, and certainly it manifested itself in a different way in terms of making the tackle. But the rest of this defense could learn a thing or two about how to tackle by Joe Hayden.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how they got that as close as they when they had that ball down on the field measuring. I thought, how in the world do you even get it that? Because I thought that was after review, but I guess it wasn't, right? Didn't they re-review that and then remark it or what?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I mean, it got.
I don't think they ever remeasured again.
No, they never remeasured because it was short. So they just, what was the point? I guess to remeasure. But yeah,
did it look short? To me, I thought they were going to roll first down.
I thought so too. Yeah, because I couldn't tell in the angle because they were kind of at an angle from the camera guy on the field there. So I didn't know. But I mean, whenever Hayden first made that tackle, I went, "Oh, this guy's short. Like it's not even close."
Right.
I mean, wasn't even a 10, and the mark was at 9.5. And so I don't know how they spotted it that bad. I mean, I think had they ruled first down, they would have gone back and respotted the football and remeasured, and I think it would have all ended well. But yeah, that was bizarre. But I mean, either way, Hayden made a fantastic play.
Right. I'm kind of confused about the process there because I was trying to look at so many things. I was trying to tweet and all like that at the same time.
Right.
But it felt like they marked and then measured and then reviewed and then said, "Oh no," and then never really kind of respotted the ball and then measured again. Is that what it felt like? I was kind of expecting another measurement again, but anyway, I think everybody knew that it was short. I mean, there were, especially from the TV angles there that they had there. At no point was even forward progress 8 inches from it being a first down.
Yeah, my concern was just when the play was live after Hayden's tackle, I saw first and goal pop up. I felt like they were moving the sticks, and I'm going, whoa, we gotta have a conversation here. I was worried they were going to let the next play happen and not be able to review it at all, and that was kind of what was concerning me.
It's still crazy. It's 2021, Alex, and I can automate so much stuff these days and RSS feeds and automate this and automate that, and we still using two sticks in a chain
and a note card occasionally
to measure. We need freaking laser beams, man. We need them yesterday. Put it. There's got to be a way with chips and ball. I don't know. Does it take do people get some sort of thrill out of seeing a guy hold up two sticks on the sideline? I don't know, but they have got to get that aspect of the game better. There's better ways to do this with technology and make sure you get perfect spots of the football. Especially in key moments.
Yeah, it's a league that can measure how fast you ran, what catch probability you had, and it can't measure, with a first down without a chain link and a big stick.
But I'll be damned, we can tell you whether or not you should go for 2 down 9 points. Right?
Yeah, right. Earth to John Harbaugh over there. But
need to turn this one over to the nerds, I think.
But yeah, overall defensively, not great. You can't give up 200 yards again. Luckily, I don't think Kansas City is going to be as big of a running threat next week. Although it'll be a much bigger threat in other regards to their offense. But you get 4 takeaways there and just ball hunting, ball searing. Again, I've said it many times. I'll say it again. That was a difference in this game.
Why wouldn't you want? I don't want to get too far. You're going to send me. This is your fault. I'm going down this hole.
I'm trying to pull you out of it.
You try to pull me out before I go down, but I got to go down before you can pull me out. But okay. Why wouldn't you want to try to run behind Creed Humphrey, get to the second level on some of these linebackers here?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But obviously, their MO is to throw the football when you got Hill and Kelsey. I mean, I'm sure they'll run it, and I'm sure they'll run it well. But hopefully, it won't be 200 yards again.
All right, that was a quick trip down. I'm back.
Yeah. Any other thoughts here defensively from individual performance or just overall thoughts or anything like that?
I just really look forward to maybe getting into the defensive line tape and seeing. Look, I mean, there are some rushes too. There's going to be some great long arm and pass rush stuff from Cameron Hayward in this game, which there normally is anyway, right? So I think that's to look for. I want to see the bad that goes along with the good from, say, Isaiah Loudermilk, Carlos Davis. It didn't feel great. Or in the TV tapes, I want to look a little bit more closer at that. And then obviously, watch the inside line. TJ Watt, we haven't talked about TJ Watt breaking the sack record. So that's obviously a momentous occasion for him. And I mean, what he does on a week in, week out basis as far as rushing, especially when it comes to rushing the passer, is just absolutely phenomenal. They'll try to put a tight end on him, chipping him that way. It doesn't matter. He works through all of that stuff. And boy, they even had 2 guys holding him in the middle there, and doesn't get the call on that there. So when you think about defensive players of the year, and you think about this 2021 Steelers team, man, there's a couple of wins that they probably don't have if TJ Watt's not on that field, for sure. And that's the epitome of a defensive player of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah. What's the stat that you had on Twitter before this game about the Steelers win-loss record when Watt plays X amount of the snaps versus when he does? I mean, there's a very clear correlation there between this team's winning and Watt's availability.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up real quick here. The Steelers are 5-1 this season, or heading into the game. They were 5-1 this season in games that TJ Watt plays 83% or more of the total defensive snaps in. So I assume he played more than 83% yesterday, right? Let me look here real quick.
84 according to PFR.
Ooh, just made it.
Just made it.
Made it by that much. Maxwell Smart. That's above. That's out of your time frame, man. Mm-hmm. But now 6-1 this season there. So that guy's on the field. Surprise! He's a difference maker, and that's your Captain Obvious analysis of the week.
That's why they pay the big bucks. Right. The sack and a half that he had kind of embodied the player that he is. The first one, the half sack, he gets, like you said, double teamed, held by 2 guys. His hands are in the air, still gets a sack. And the second one, was an empty. And so many teams this year are going empty and kind of widening Watt's alignment. They'll chip with the tight end and give the tackle some time to kind of build his house there on his pass set. And he still, gets past the tight end chip there, beats the tackle to the outside and gets the sack there on Tannehill. So, yeah, breaks James Harrison's record of 16 sacks, 17.5 on the season for TJ Watt, 67 in his career. So kudos to TJ Watt. Still a chance he could, threaten Strahan's sack record. It's going to be tougher, obviously. I think he needs 5 over these last 3 games. So it's possible, but he'll need some more multi-sack performances going forward.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past him. He's the kind of guy that can get you 3 in a heartbeat there. Yeah, so
Mahomes, these quarterbacks start running around some of these next couple of games, you might get a couple sacks.
Yeah, you might.
And then some other things to note here individually, a lot of rotation in this game. As we said, Joe Hayden and Witherspoon rotating quite a bit at the left cornerback spot. There were times where Hayden would come in dime packages, kind of be the dime defender in a sense, which is kind of interesting when they would rotate things. And Robert Spillane rotating in with both Devin Bush and Joe Schobert, and Marcus Allen playing in dime. So 4 off-ball linebackers playing in this one, all in different roles.
Yep. I thought they would play probably Spillane a little bit more than what they did. How many snaps did Spillane play?
Played a fair amount. Pretty healthy rotation. I think I had about 25, 30 snaps as my projection, and he played 34 snaps, 42% of the time.
Okay.
So that's about in line with what I thought they would be in this one. Let's see. Any other final thoughts here? I think it's kind of about it defensively, but yeah, the takeaways, the big thing there. And I just thought, again, being very battle tested in a game like this where Tennessee had the ball for 39 minutes and to only hold the opponent to 13 points is pretty rare and pretty impressive.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Dave, let's split over to the offense. And I don't even know what to talk about with the offense. I mean, my terrible take, one sentence I said today is, does anyone remember one play this offense ran yesterday? Maybe the Ben Sneak touchdown. I mean, it was such a lackluster performance, 168 yards of total offense. This team could not run the ball a lick. That's not a big surprise given Tennessee's very stout and sound top 5 run defense, but just a very boring, lackluster, unnotable, if that's a word, offensive performance.
Absolutely, and they just couldn't. 3 of how many runs did Najee have? 12 in total, was it?
Yeah, it was 12 for 18 yards.
Oh,
oh, I heard that one hurt you. That one broke you a little bit.
Oh man!
Run game's fixed. The Rudy mandate.
Hold on, let me. I gotta catch my breath here.
Yeah, you pulled the Sanford and Son. This is the big one. Thing over there, Dave.
Oh, someone just punched me right in the side. 12 for 18. 3 of those, Alex. 3. 1, 2, 3 were successful, and I think one of those was like a 2nd and 4 that he got. I don't know, 2 yards.
Probably 2. I had to guess.
2 yards on. Not great, Bob. Is he gonna break Franco Harris's rookie rushing record? I thought it was a slam dunk if he just stayed healthy this year. I'm kind of wondering now with 3 games left if he's gonna get there at all. Look, they just can't block it up. He's missing. Some of it's on him too. Mm-hmm. Let's not kid ourselves here. He's missing. It might have happened, I think, twice, but that twice may have cost him another, 8 yards, 9 yards, what have you. Man, they just struggling running the football, and it's not getting any better. Kendrick Green, another really, really poor performance, I think, in this one. The tight end's not blocking overly well. On top of it, it's just a mess. Good, yeah. AR2 can't be happy right now. Fix the running game, and they spend. I call Pat Freiermuth what you want, but he's a traditional tight end or an old school tight end that is supposed to be able to help in the running game more so than an Eric Ebron ever did. Najee's obviously a running back. And then 2 offensive linemen in there who have played damn near every snap this season on top of it. And you got a veteran in there in Trey Turner that you added thinking that's going to help you in the running game. None of it's helping, man. You're trying to run, RPOs and box counts, and None of that's even working right now. So you're just better off trying to tell everybody blow off the line as best you can, and let's try to get 3 yards. I mean, that's really what it's come down to now. And if you get something like 12 yards on the outside, then it's like throw a damn parade.
Mm-hmm. It really feels like every RPO becomes a pass just because there's no trust or confidence in the ability to run the football. That's really hard to blame Ben at this point. Najee is on pace for 1,081 yards. That would rank Franco Harris's mark by about 30. But with the way Harris is running lately and the way this team's blocking, that pace may decrease game by game. So if he does, he'll probably barely do it, which is pretty sad to say in a 17-game season when Franco did it in 14 and a whole lot less carries as well. This run games just really struggles. And and not to excuse it because there were run games were issues before Fryer's injury, but once you lost him and Rader was down, I think you were more limited formationally in terms of the guys you had available to you. Of course, Gentry's your best blocking tight end, but still you couldn't go 2 tight end sets and some of that second half stuff when Fryermuth was out because obviously you only had 1 tight end available. But that's not to excuse it. They couldn't run the ball even before Fryermuth went down.
Right. They couldn't at all. And it's not like this game got as far away from them as, say, the game against the Vikings, right? I mean, and here's the thing, too. How many times do you remember yourself talking about their brilliant edge rusher over there?
Good point.
Landry. So they pretty much held him at bay. Really, Bud Dupree, they kind of, for the most part, held him at bay. Bud's a pretty good run defender, and. Bud had the sack in this one, but did it feel like any of their I guess where I'm going with this, other than maybe Simmons, who I think kind of really represented himself well in this game, did it really? And now the Steelers did only run 45 plays.
Yeah.
So, and how many of those were runs? 8, 17. Let's see, 5 and 12, 17 runs, and 2 of those were quarterback sneaks. By Ben. What was the third one from Ben?
And kneel down.
Okay, kneel down. Oh God, how can I forget that in 18? So so essentially, take out the Ben kneel downs and the 2 quarterback sneaks. Which, how about that? Back to back.
Yeah.
Quarterback sneaks for Ben for one Ben Roethlisberger. The other 2 runs were what end arounds to Johnson and Claypool. Those actually were successful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
How do you only run the football 12 times?
Yeah, because you couldn't run it well, and you got put in 3rd and long. There were a lot of pre-snap penalties that marked your team back. I mean, the Steelers started 0 for 6, 0 for 8 on 3rd down. I forget what the number was before they got their first 3rd down conversion, but they were consistently in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14, and they were throwing short of the sticks every single time because it's just hard to drive the ball downfield in those situations. But you're right, no Titans player made the play the way the Steelers defense made plays. Landry just 2 tackles, no sacks. Dupree just 2 tackles, did have the 1 sack. That came off the false key pull by Turner, I believe, right? That was the Dupree sack. So I mean, it was still a sack, but it wasn't like he beat Dan Moore or something like that. It was just, poorly schemed and timed up by the Steelers offense. But just a really inefficient offense. No 3rd down success. Could not run the ball. They're a terrible 1st down team. It compounds itself. It manifests itself into being a bad 3rd down team. And I think over the last 3 games, this team's around 25% on 3rd down, roughly. And that's just unacceptable.
I mean, how are you going to fix this? I mean, okay, you might get Dotson back. How much does that really help?
Yeah.
It's bad, man. I mean, it's bad. They were told to fix it, and it went the opposite direction.
Yeah, I mean, again, the longest rush this season is Mason Rudolph with 26 yards, and Chase Claypool is your 2nd leading rusher on the team behind Najee Harris. That kind of the two numbers that sum up where this run game is at, and it's hard to think it's going to get a whole lot better going forward.
And once again, it goes, hate to pound this one, but I mean, you cannot even get Anthony McFarland in a helmet to do some things with him. I mean, that speaks volumes. No offense to the Kalen Ballage fan club, and he does do okay on special teams, but I think I could do without a few of those special team snaps of Ballage if I thought I could get a little something out of McFarland. And the fact that they don't, for whatever reason, I wish somebody would hammer these questions that they ask. If we had you there or had someone from the depot there, not that we'll ever get there, but that'd be one of the things I hammering him. Why can't Anthony McFarland get? I mean, this is a guy that Canada has history with too, going back to Maryland. I'm not saying getting him on the field for 25 snaps or so, but man, you cannot. What is it with him that you can't even get him in a helmet and get him on the field for 7 snaps and get the ball in his hands for 3 of them? I'm not asking for the world here. I mean, but that's damning if you ask me, because let's face it, Caleb Lodge is not going to be on this team next year, right? Right. Shouldn't be. And Benny, you can make an argument that Benny Snell's not going to be back either. And now you even have to wonder if McFarland's even going to make the team next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. His lack of usage, lack of dressing speaks volumes for a team desperate for some extra run game help. And so you're right about that. And this offense overall is just very subdued. Their longest play from scrimmage, not including penalties, was 19 yards. Really, the highlight was Ben's sneak, which was so rare, uncommon to see. He's probably feeling it. I think he said that after the game. He's pretty sore after the 2 quarterback sneaks. And Zach Gentry running over Kevin Byard was like the play of the game, which was a great rep there by Gentry. I think it was right after Freiermuth got hurt, but that was about it.
It got late last night. I said, nobody's paying attention to my tweets anyway. I was still shotting a lot of stuff from the from the TV tape, and I got to that tight end screen. I didn't know if you were still up or not. I almost screenshotted that and said, but that's the best saltine.
It's the best what?
The best cracker, the best saltine.
Oh, best saltine.
That tight end screen. The way this team runs screens to have, and look, that's not going to go into the tight end screen Hall of Fame plays of the week or plays of the year, but it felt so exponentially great for a screen that this team does on that play. And you're right, and that play came to. Immediately the play after Pat Freiermuth went down. They'll never expect this. Right. So great timing for that call. And I guess the timing of that whole thing developing was okay overall. It probably could have been a little bit better blocking on that, but that ended up being a like you said, one of the better plays of the game.
Yeah, second longest from scrimmage of the game goes to your blocking tight end. Running back screens, no different story. They were just the worst at it. And I watched the Patriots game, I believe, and they had a lot of success with the screen game against Tennessee. And I almost included that in my scouting report about how effective the screen game could be. But I'm like, man, Pittsburgh's so bad at it, it's not even worth it. I mean, this team cannot even complete a running back screen, which is just, and it's been like that for years. That's not a new problem. And I don't know what the issue is, but they're just really bad at it.
Yeah, they are really, really bad. Yeah, that one Ben tried to throw to Najee, not even close.
Yeah, so I don't even know where to begin in terms of dissecting the issue there. Any other thoughts here for this offense? Again, lackluster, terrible on third down. I think 1 of 3 in the red zone. Again, Ben Sneak being the one score. Barely had the ball enough to even talk about this offense, though.
Yeah, look, and Ben talked about the miss, and I think Matthew Marks, you wrote it up. We think that's the one that Ben's talking about, right? That was a third down play, right, where he threw to Washington in the end zone, or what? When was it? It was the second. Was that the first play of the fourth quarter, or second to last play of the third quarter?
I think a different interpretation of that. Let me try to find the incompletion in the end zone. There was a third down. I don't know exactly when that was, though.
That was later in the third quarter, I thought, or was
I think it was I want to say it was in the fourth quarter.
Or early in the fourth quarter?
But I'm not 100% sure. It was 3rd and 7 at the Tennessee 10, 13:32 left, incomplete, short middle for James Washington on that nod double move route.
When was it?
13:32 of the fourth quarter.
Okay, yeah. That was one, and then even Romo highlighted the Johnson coming up underneath there.
Right, but I think the play Ben's talking about was at the end of the third quarter, because Ben talked about how it was a completion of first down to James Washington, and the only first down that James caught on in what he's talking about was end of the third quarter.
Okay, but that one, though, he never even looks to Deontay over to the other side. I screenshot. Right. I don't know how it doesn't match up with what Ben's saying in that, because that looks like, I mean, he looks right to Washington on that out route over to the right side, and it almost felt predetermined. So I don't.
Right.
And then I even think, now I haven't looked at the all 22. What in Tennessee and too high in that one?
Maybe, but maybe Ben saw something on the tablet after the words. All I'm saying is that Ben's saying is that it was a play where Washington had a first down, and obviously Washington did not catch a first down on that incompletion. So maybe there's something on the old. I have not seen the all 22 either, but based on what Ben said, that's what it's telling me.
All right. Well, he would have had to hold on to that football then, because that ball's out before even Deontay's fully out of TV frame, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe Ben never looked at Deontay because he got some sort of pre-snap read and got a different post-snap picture, and so he never even progressed to Deontay to begin with, and then looking back said, "Man, I should have had him as my first read." That's my guess. I don't know. We'll have to go back on the 22 and see. But yeah, just inefficient team overall. Dave, you want to take a quick sidetrack here and kind of lead you down a short rabbit hole, just because the offense is super boring to talk about from this game. I like to read on Sunday the Tomlin interview with Bob Labriola. I think it's the best time you get information out of Mike Tomlin.
I know where this is going.
You do. Okay, we'll keep it. We'll keep it.
This
pretty
is
brief.
on Alex. All right,
this is on me.
He's the hater. Alex is the hater here. Send the emails to Alex. Go ahead.
Sounds like a good 18th century name, Alex the Hater. It sounds
Alex,
kind of important.
That does sound
powerful.
pretty good.
I'll take it. Anyway, so Mike Tomlin, Bob Labriola interview Sunday before the game. I think it's one of the best interviews that Tomlin does. And just interesting commentary about Kendrick Green and kind of talking about their scouting process in general. I just want to read, what Tomlin had to say here, and then I'll kind of let you interpret it however you want to interpret it, Dave, and said, this is again about kind of the drafting evaluation process. He says, quote, "In some instances, you might want to employ somebody who's more game ready. In other instances, you might be afforded an opportunity to draft someone with upside. A case in point is Kendrick Green. We knew we were looking for a center who needed to be game ready, and so we were looking at a senior, a guy who played 4 years of college football like he did at Illinois, as opposed to maybe somebody who was an underclassman with upside who may be less of a finished product." So I thought that was a really strange answer from Tomlin, because the way that I'm reading it is that he's saying that we wanted a day one, ready, plug and play kind of guy, and Kendrick Green was that guy for us, when to me, it's the total opposite. Green was the project, the upside guy, the toolsy guy with the athleticism and traits and potential, but was not game ready the way that Tomlin says. And Green, by the way, was a redshirt junior, so he didn't even really, wasn't even like the true senior fifth-year guy that Tomlin seems to be, saying they were looking for.
Did they draft the wrong guy?
They put the name down wrong on the card or something?
I mean, that's one of those things too. And I didn't normally. I try to listen during the pregame show because they run that interview and all. And I did the words not match up with the actual? That's one of those things that did it get lost in transcription? I don't know how else it could be transcribed in a way that would so materially affect what Tomlin. Because I mean, Tomlin he's contradicting himself unless they think Green was a day one ready center, which I don't know how you could assume that, because he was primarily a guard and underclassman and was obviously not developed as a prospect. Right. I mean, this is a guy that was a project for sure when it came to center. Right. And that's fine. I'm not saying you can't draft that guy, but just don't call him day one ready or game ready to play. And again, I mean, he played 4 years. He was a redshirt guy. So he spent 4 years at Illinois. He was a defensive tackle his first year there. He only played 3 years offensive line. So it was just a very strange comment there on Kendrick Green. Right. Look, that kid's just got to start playing better. No two ways about it. And got a lot of, we talked about him a lot heading into this game, and, some Twitter banter back and forth as well on him. And, people saying, well, just move him to guard. It's just not that simple, folks. He's got to start. You got to get off the ground, man. He's on the ground again a couple of times in that game yesterday. And I think this has kind of been your growing takeaway throughout the season here, and really since he was drafted there. He has got to get so much more technically sound. He is going to have to be a center that becomes great by being such a great technician, and you're just not seeing it with him.
Yeah, he's got to win early because he's not the longest guy. He's not the biggest guy overall. He is strong. He is athletic. He just has to win with really strong and kind of impeccable hand use and technique. But just to give him some grace, I mean, if the Steelers believe he was, game ready, day one ready, and we know that he's not, that puts Green in a really tough situation when he's being used in a vision that's not really true. When he's not, day one ready, he's not this polished guy the Steelers seem to be making him out to be.
Yeah, did you almost drop you don't drink coffee? Did you almost drop your bottled water when you read that?
My Aquafina spilled everywhere. It was terrible. It was just super strange. It just seems like such a contradiction. And I don't think Tomlin was implying there that Green was the upside guy, because he was saying that we wanted a guy who spent 4 years in college the way that Green did. It just seemed like he was, calling Green game ready. But I think everyone kind of read that and raised an eyebrow at it.
Look, I always keep saying when talking about him specifically, really any rookie, would like to wait about 5 or 6 games, into their second season to get a large amount of snaps, on the tape. But man, not looking great for him so far.
Yeah, not good so far. All right, Dave, let's finish up here with special teams. Chris Boswell, excellent as always, 4 of 5. The only miss being that 56-yarder. Actually, the elephant in the room here, Mike Tomlin, clock management. My goodness, we don't talk about it a whole lot on here. It's not my favorite topic, but that was as bad gets there in the end of the first half there. I liked your tweet, Dave. This Tomlin, no, you can't take your timeouts to the second half, because it certainly felt like he thought that you could.
Yeah, and I'm not one that tries to harp on that too terribly much. I mean, a lot of it harps on itself, really, but it was a 2nd and 9 play from the Steelers' own 9. The pass to Westbrook over there, short right. He's down on the ground. He gets touched up. The whistle blows. Theoretically, even if you want to give a second of leniency there, you could have called timeout at 1:09. Okay. And that would have been your first timeout, I believe, right?
They had all 3.
In that situation there. So 1:09. And then also then you're setting up a 3rd and goal situation. So whatever happens, something's going to get decided really on that 3rd down play. And more than likely they are going to throw the football. So either they score a touchdown and the clock stops, or it's incomplete and the clock stops, right? So
or a penalty, but
or a penalty.
Odds are, like you said, an outcome will be determined on that play.
Right. So instead, though, they don't call. He doesn't call timeout there, and then 40. 110 to when did the next snap? It ended up being 40 something seconds, I think.
114 to 33.
Okay. Well, that's how long they let run off that clock in that situation there. And then obviously, he was sacked, and then they called the time. then they called the timeout.
Yeah. Right.
It didn't make sense, the whole process.
Right.
And then Mike Tomlin's excuse after that was really, we just wanted to worry about keeping them out of the end zone. Well, that's all fine and good. That should be part. Can't you use a timeout to kind of figure that out?
Mike, you can do both. You can both to set up the clock situation and keep them out of the end zone. It's not either or in that moment.
That's like that little girl in pigtails, that little meme. Why not both? But yeah, I didn't get that at all there. I mean, you can accomplish what you wanted to, or said that you wanted to accomplish there, and still save time for your offense, maybe to drive. Because look, I mean, who knows? You hate to go back to this thing and say, and drive it in the rearview mirror and all like that. But they ended up getting a field goal attempt out of that. And what if you had another play or two that could have got you another, 5 yards? That's all that Boswell needed, was about another 5 yards there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you match a field goal with a field goal there. So the whole process stank there. Look, you're already down. It almost felt like it was a huge win to get to the locker room 13-3, right? And maybe it was, but it could have been 13-6 at least. It felt like.
Yeah, I mean, you had to really scramble there, and kudos to Ben for leading that one. That flag route to Washington for 19 yards was a great throw, great timed up, and gave you 1 second left to even attempt a field goal. But if you have 30 seconds still on the clock there, if you use those timeouts whenever Tennessee had the football, you're going to get a field goal in that situation with the way Boz is kicking. So, yeah, just really bad clock management in those low-scoring, close games. Your offense is struggling. You need all the points you can get. Just really horrible mismanagement by Mike Tomlin.
All right.
And then special teams, Chris Boswell, though, overall 4 or 5 field goals. That one missed the 56-yarder, but money elsewhere, and they needed him, obviously. It felt like that Bengals playoff game years ago where I think he had like 5, 6 field goals where he was counted on every single time and was just money every single time. Of course, Presley Harvin really struggled in this one. Punts of 27 yards, 32 yards, the big run back, which is less on him, more on the coverage unit, but still just a really bad day overall. Although I just saw in your Twitter timeline, for whatever it's worth, some context here, Harvin posting a photo on Instagram about his dad, who seems to be in some really poor health, saying, quote, "We found out this week that his time left on earth is limited." So maybe there's some personal things affecting him on the field.
Yeah, and thoughts and prayers to him and his
Absolutely.
family for sure. When it comes to that, I don't know how to drive. I mean, his punting has been bad. Maybe his father's health is indeed impacting him. Maybe he can't concentrate. Maybe he's trying too hard. I don't know, but obviously his punting hasn't been great. Very consistent. It's been boom or bust, really. It's been hit 160 yards and hit the next 235 yards there. So look, you hate to see anybody go through this, whether they're a football player or not football player, so hopefully he can find some peace here and get some strength to persevere through this and try to move forward here. So maybe that is impacting him. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, these are people too, and you have to remember that. But, of course, the bottom line is, you have to go out there and perform. That's how, players are judged. And he struggled. And again, maybe that explains him those struggles. But regardless, it was not a good day yesterday for Harvin or this punt team overall. All right, Dave, any other final thoughts here for this game? We're all 7-6-1 in a very jumbled up AFC North and AFC in general. So we'll see what the Browns do tonight. The Ravens lose to the Packers there on that failed 2-point conversion. The Bengals do hold on to beat the Broncos. And so this thing is really up in the air right now in terms of who's going to take the division.
Yeah, it is wide open. It would have been nice if the Broncos would have beat the Bengals yesterday, but they obviously didn't. The Ravens went for 2 again at the end. I half understand why they do that. I mean, they were down even more corners in this game, and I guess Harbaugh's kind of gambling mentality was let's try to win it here but on the flip side, he's got the kicker in Justin Tucker, but I guess he just felt like it was a losing proposition. They did not get the 2-point conversion there, that they were bound and determined to lose that game, I guess. I mean, I can half make sense of it because once again the corners, their defensive back situation and all, but I mean, they kept it close to that point. They got him in a position. Heck, even if you do hold Aaron Rodgers, keep Aaron Rodgers out of the end zone in overtime, then you have a chance to win it with your kicker. It was a bit curious though. And then once again, look, they've lost a couple of games now because of missed 2-point conversions, but yet they've won a game off of 60 whatever yard field goal hitting a crossbar.
Right. Also, looks like here the Pro Bowl voting has been finalized. I'm trying to get the official results here, but it looks like they are finalized. I saw a tweet that looks like Watt, McLeod, and Harvin finished first at their position groups.
It says rosters to be announced on Wednesday. Let's see, I
think this is the fan voting portion, at least in terms of the results here.
Yeah, and Watt, Ray McLeod, and Presley Harvin III ended up leading their positions in voting this year. I would have believed Watt I'm not sure I would have believed the other two, but there's obviously that's 1/3 of the vote, right?
I think I don't really follow how they track it too much, but that sounds right.
All right. So anyway, the Pro Bowlers will be announced on Wednesday, December the 22nd. So in a couple more days from now, we will have what should obviously make it. You would think, I don't know, is Cameron Hayward going to sneak in there, or is there not enough? Is there not enough?
There's a lot of competition, just a lot of good interior defensive linemen in football. We'll see. He deserves to make it. It'll be a shame if he doesn't. So I certainly hope so.
All right. We'll see.
All right, Dave, let's get through some reader emails here and close out today's show.
All right, let us do that indeed. Let me pull up the terrible podcast here.
And just a reminder for listeners, our live stream will be next week, not tonight. So just a heads up there.
Jonathan Mason writes in, Alex and Dave, seems like Bush has played better the last 3 games, coming downhill a bit more and showing up in coverage. What do you guys think? Hope he can put together 3 good games down the stretch to trend up going into next season. Thanks. Jonathan, I don't know what game you watched yesterday. In fact, I think his Minnesota game was maybe better than the one against the Titans. Alex, what do you think about for just from the TV side, Bush's play yesterday? I thought he tackled better. How about that? I thought he tackled better.
Yeah, missed tackles have not been his biggest bugaboo, but you're right. It did feel like he was a bit more aggressive. I mean, I think Pittsburgh in general was sending their linebackers into the A-gap more, trying to play downhill, trying to play more aggressive. And so I don't know if that was more of a scheme thing than it was a Bush thing, but there was some positivity. I thought coverage, he did a good job overall. You would have liked to see him finish that play with the interception, unfortunately. But, I mean, there has been some improvement there. But just overall, taking on blocks, not getting washed in the run game. They're not always the most obvious thing on a play, but you can see it pop up as being a repeated issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was all that, to be honest. When you go back through the tape, you're going to see that, I don't think the All-22 is going to be kind to him overall. I think people are wish casting this. I think they feel so bad. They hate to see a first-round draft pick kind of wasted in here, so they're trying to grasp on to chasing the quarterback out of a pocket, which was good. All right. I mean, and look, there's another instance in there too with him rushing one of the guards or tackle one from the left side where it looks like that knee's fine. He actually shows a little bit of power there and kind of walking that offensive line back. But I mean, these are the kind of things that we're kind of trying to grasp onto right now.
Yeah, I will say this as a quick aside. Joe Schobert had a very Vince Williams-like bull rush on a running back yesterday on a pressure. He just ran over. I can't wait to pull up that clip on the All-22.
Yeah, that was the one that ended up in that was the turnover play. That was the mallet punch out play. Punch out play, I believe. That Schobert ran the running back over, got in Tannehill's face. Tannehill got the football away to who is it? Frisker, whatever, tight end.
Yeah.
And then I believe that was the same play, if memory serves me.
That sounds right. Yeah, it was a great rush. But yeah, Devin Bush, I think just a couple of those plays in coverage, they stick out in your mind more because they're more notable, because they're more obvious type of stuff, and some of the in the weeds, taking on block stuff that you don't always get highlighted. People don't see that first glance, and that's kind of gives the perception about a better performance.
All right. This one from Brandon. Ben sitting in the hallway. Hopefully someone asked Ben why he was sitting in the stairwell briefly during the game. Ben had a funny comment about that post-game press conference there. Several people have several theories here. Some people say, well, it happened right after Pat Freiermuth was injured, that Ben went down there and say a prayer for Pat Freiermuth. Some people saying Ben, there was somebody in the bathroom right down there that Ben had to go to the bathroom and he was just waiting his turn. Some people say he was just outright praying. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of curious that the cameras did catch him down there in that moment there. And Ben obviously just said, I thought it was close to breaking the Heinz Field rushing record, or thought I broke the Heinz. Hey, he had a funny quote there. I don't know. People will dissect that, 8 different ways for the next week, I guess. I don't know what the reason was, to be honest with you.
Me neither. I assume he was going to the bathroom at some point. I mean, do the bathrooms only have one bathroom at Heinz Field? I don't know.
I would think right there, right down the tunnelway. It's not
Mhm.
like you're going to have, six
That's true.
bathrooms,
That's true.
there. I don't know. I've never been down through that way. Maybe somebody who's been immediately down that stairwell knows whether or not there's just one bathroom there. I don't know. I'm guessing like the rest of them. So I can't, Brandon, I can't answer that one.
Got to do some depot investigative reporting. The hard-hitting journalism people lead. How many bathrooms are there in the tunnel by the stairwell at Heinz Field?
Dan Devlin writes in, happy Victory Monday. Good day. Thank you, fellas. I really enjoy the show. You always do a great job. First, a previous reference about picking your feet in Poughkeepsie was from the movie The French Connection with Gene Hackman, one of the great chase scenes. I have never seen that movie. So maybe my wife
Don't have to ask me if I've seen it because
Yeah.
I have not. I do like Gene Hackman, though. I'm a big
Yeah.
Gene Hackman fan.
Yeah, I bet my wife's seen that. Maybe she can fill me in what that reference is. You guys have talked about the rookie wall. Is Trey Turner hitting the less well-known free agent wall? Seemed to be another rough game for Trey and his mates. He says, do you think players Harris, Washington, Johnson are trying too hard to make a big splash instead of just making the next play? He says, seemed to be many occasions where they lost ground attempting to make the big play and didn't. He goes on to say, can you comment on the goal line plays when Big Ben seemed to lunge forward? That seemed innovative and could lead to more success in short yardage situations. Congratulations to the D. If you can't stop them, just take the ball away. Yep, that's a good point. They can't run on you if you take the football away from them. There. Thanks again. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you both and all your listeners. Dan Devlin. All right. Rookie Trey Turner and the free agent wall. Trey's just Trey. Trey is just Trey. I mean, just not, he is who he is at this point in his career, I think.
Yeah, I haven't heard the free agent wall before. That's a new one. I mean, Turner is not a guy that we thought was going to be great in pass pro, and that's been generally true this season. So I think he's been about as advertised. I appreciate his physicality, both in the run and pass game. His leadership overall. There's been some moments, but he's a average-ish guard at this point in his career. On a bad day, he'll be worse than that. So I'm not surprised by anything I've seen from Trey Turner, good or bad, this year.
Are you standing on the table and jumping down up and down on top of it to re-sign Trey Turner?
No, definitely not. I think Tomlin really likes the guy. I mean, however, whatever that's worth. I don't know how much that is worth. But I would not be shocked if he was re-signed, especially if you're going to let a core four walk and you're going to really change up that right side of the offensive line. I don't know. It's something I'm really kind of been on the fence about.
And what about Harris, Washington, and Johnson trying too hard to make a big play instead of just making the next play?
Yeah, that there was too much east-west running, not as much north-south, and so I don't know if it's them trying too hard or just not seeing the right lane. I mean, obviously these things happen a lot faster on the field than it is from our comfy couch perspective. But yeah, I just thought too much east-west running overall in this game.
Carlos Torres writes in, fourth quarter point difference. Would it be possible to see the point difference in fourth quarter this year compared to the first three quarters? And why do you guys believe we continue to struggle to play good early? Let me see if I can pull something up. Talk about why you think they continue to struggle so early, other than yes.
Yeah, I just have yes as an answer. I do have first and second half splits, at least. Over the last 5 games, Pittsburgh's been outscored 91-19 in the first half. In the second half, they've outscored their opponent 95-59. And so those just wicked splits there between first and second half. I don't know how it is first 3 quarters and fourth quarter. I know you're looking that up, Dave. But yeah, they've been outscored 33-6 in the first quarter of their last 5 games. So it's been really bad. Why that is a great question. I mean, obviously, second half, you're going to start throwing the ball more, maybe go a little more tempo, let Ben, handle things a little bit more. You're not trying to run the ball into a brick wall as often. So, I mean, there's some component there. Obviously, you're going to get more information on the defense. You have a better feel for what they're trying to do to stop you. But it has been really frustrating and certainly a dangerous game Pittsburgh plays every single week.
Let's see here. This can't be right, can it? Opponents fourth. Let's see. Opponents have outscored the Steelers 335-291. Does that sound right?
On the season?
Yeah, 335-291 on the season. That would be a differential of 44 points. Let me see if that matches up. That's right, right?
Okay. That sounds right.
44 point.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Differential there. Okay. Now let me look at something else here while I got that pulled up. Let me go back to where I was here real quick, and it shows score by periods. All right, opponents. This is the first quarter, 52-34. All right.
Okay.
Second quarter, 111-67. Write that down. Third quarter, 79-45. And fourth quarter, the Steelers actually lead this one, 142-93.
Yeah, and so Ryan Scarpizzo, former Steelers guy, is saving the math here as point differential by quarter. Steelers outscored 18 points in the first quarter, 44 points in the second quarter, 34 points in the third quarter. They're plus 49 in the fourth quarter. So the only quarter they're outscoring the opponent and doing so by a wide margin.
All right. Wish we could explain it, and look, I mean, they weren't great in the second half of this game either, right? I mean,
yeah, it was thanks to the turnovers. Yeah, that's how they got their points. Essentially, they got all of them off the takeaways,
and they couldn't convert those things in. You convert one of those things into a touchdown later on in the game there, and you're probably not biting your nails and waiting for Joe Hayden to make the big play that he made there at the end there. One more here, I think. All right, Merrill Hyde's reviewing Devin Bush. I read, we forgot to talk about this, I think. I read the article that discussed his review of Devin Bush. I agree that Devin isn't playing well. However, it's not like Joe Schobert is playing like an all-pro either. You could replace Devin Bush's name in Merrill Hyde's quotes with Joe Schobert, and would anyone even notice? Brandon is taking the route of, look at him. Yeah, but look at him. That's not the way you do it, Brandon. Hate to get on you there. The article and Hodges' comments were about Devin Bush, so that's who we discuss. It doesn't look flattering when you go, yeah, but look at him. Mm-hmm. Look, we have said more than a few times the last several shows that the inside linebacker play as a whole across the board has not been great. All right. But I tell you the difference between Joe Schobert too, and why Bush gets more of this, because you traded. That's a first round draft pick you have in that kid, and you traded up to get him as well too. So the expectations are a little bit higher as well. So that look, nobody's playing great in this defense, top to bottom, other than guys like Cameron Hayward and Watt, and obviously Minka's been playing well as of late, because he's had to come down and make some tackles on some guys. And then you have key plays in key moments like Hayden gave you. But heck, I mean, that was Hayden's first game back, and he had missed 4 games right prior to that there. So we're not pinning this whole defensive show on Devin Bush, but let me tell you, he's going to get a lot of it here because of the way he's playing, and because he is a former first-round draft pick, and because he is in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, I can understand the sentiment. I mean, I've said it many times. I think there's been a hyper-focus on Bush as if all the defense's ills are on him, and it's certainly not, and Schobert does not play that much better than Bush this season. I agree with you there, but I mean, bottom line is, did Merrill Hodge say anything inaccurate in that evaluation? No, and that's all I'm going to focus on. I think, regardless what Schobert does or does not do, that does not take away from what Bush is or is not doing. And I think Hodge was very harsh in his criticism, but very accurate in his criticism.
Look, I understand people being upset, people trying to grasp on in anything. It sucks to watch a first round pick not play well. All right, and one trending to not getting his 5th-year option, another one out the door is the way this thing is kind of trending towards, and it sucks. And I know people don't want to maybe face the reality of that, but you have to start facing the reality of that, I think.
Yeah, that's all you can do is just talk about where he's at now and the reality is not very good right now.
All right, Bryce writes in, ugly win, but I'll take it. 2 thoughts. Allow me to translate Tomlin's honest explanation for his horrible clock management at the end of the half. He says, here it goes. I was singularly focused on one thing, surviving the half without giving up another TD. Did you see how pitiful our offense was in the first half? We weren't going to drive and do anything anyway, and I wasn't going to call a timeout and give the Titans extra time to organize themselves. I was like a boxer who was trying to hold on until the bell after getting clocked in the temple. It is what it is. Okay, that's kind of, I guess, Bryce, fair enough. He says, as far as Presley Harvin goes, it looks like to me he's actually thinking too much and pressing. If I'm Danny Smith, I tell this guy to just catch it and kick it as far as you can. Wouldn't care if it's a touchback or thinking about the wind direction or kicking away from someone or whatever. Just catch and boom it. Look, I mean, we covered, Presley Harvin probably going through a lot mentally with his dad and that kind of thing there. Don't know, I would imagine to some degree that's playing a role in this. They're not going to do anything with him right now, though, as far as cutting him or anything like that. They're going to probably let him play out this string and then get him into next season and see if he can make progress, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could bring in some vet competition next year. I'd probably encourage that, but I don't expect them to make a change right now.
One other one here. Michael Rocket writes in, Dear Men of the Terrible Podcast, I was curious why the Steelers never sought out Jalen Smith given the issues at inside linebacker. In your opinion, is it a salary thing, or does he not fit typical check boxes of Colbert and Tomlin, or is it a third factor like the Steelers are confident in their inside linebacker depth once the team is more healthy? Ho, ho, ho from Haarlem, Netherlands, and I apologize if you already covered this and I missed it. No, Michael, look, here's the thing. His tape before he was cut was awful. Plain and simple.
Really bad in Dallas, and there's a reason why Green Bay gave up on him so quickly. They signed him, they played him for like a game and a half, and then they reduced his role and then cut him, and the Giants picked him up. So Jalen Smith is not good, and that's the reason why he's not a Steeler.
Right.
Thankfully.
All right, that's probably a good jumping off point. I'm surprised we don't have, maybe people are in shock. I kind of figured we'd have a few more emails in here, but I think we got through all of them, Alex. And
right.
Let's see, I think we're about an hour and a half in here.
Yeah, enjoy the doubleheader of football tonight. By the way, Brandon Scherf of Washington going on the COVID list, so that's continuing around the NFL.
All right, more football tonight, and I think a couple players are talking to the media today, so we'll recap all of that. Alex and I will jump heavy into the tape later on this afternoon, and come the Wednesday show, we'll start talking about what Mike Tomlin had to say on Tuesday, start looking ahead at the game against the Chiefs, hopefully have a beat writer on from the Chiefs on either Wednesday or Friday as well, too. What else do we have, Alex?
Yeah, just got a film room up on Joe Hayden, as you mentioned earlier. Got stats of the weird, got some great content from Josh and Tom and Matthew and the whole gang of guys. So we'll get back after it Wednesday, talk about Tomlin and our view of the tape.
All right. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and want to donate to the cause, please go to SteelersDepot.com. Hit the donate button in the upper right navigational bar. And also, if you like an ad-free version of the site, go to SteelersDepot.com. Hit the ad-free button for $25. You can have an ad-free version of the site as well, too. Alex, fine work yesterday. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show, and thank you for visiting the site this so far this year, and thanks to all the great contributions we get from the Steelers Depot contributors along this way. So in the meantime, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.